Forget about progressive overload. Why? Because when I say that, I think people think I mean it literally, just like add more weight, and you will get stronger. That is true. However, if you were to follow that recipe, eventually you will hit a wall where all of a sudden you can't get that weight up anymore. So then what? Then we have to think about progressive stimulus, right? How can we stimulate this muscle in order for it to grow when load is no longer a factor? Let's look at four different chapters. Let's look at tension, right? The force produced in the muscle. So, how much time does this muscle have? How much exposure does it have to this load? Let's look at volume. So, how many more sets and repetitions can you add to this exercise? How much range of motion can we increase, right? For number three, can we take that muscle through an exercise that can go through its full lengthening and shortening cycle and recruit more muscle fibers and relative effort? So, how much closer to failure can you get that muscle to encourage it to grow, to encourage it to adapt? So, next time you run into a wall regarding weight, I want you to pull back and say, okay, well, let's add a little bit more time with this load, and let's get a bit more volume in and a greater range of motion in and get myself a little closer to failure. And so by adding more exposure and more sets and more reps, you'll see that in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to add that 2.5 pound plate again, and you'll be a lot stronger.